Welcome to CEQUENS Chats, where we discuss all things tech, innovation, and industry leadership to help you stay ahead in the digital transformation journey and be part of a more meaningful world. At CEQUENS, building deeper human connections is what we are all about. Today, we have CEQUENS's Vice President of Growth and Revenue Operations, Hussein Malhas, who will be talking to us about the journey of a startup and why some make it and some don't in the region. Hussein, it's a pleasure having you with us on CEQUENS Chats today.
Thank you so much. Looking forward for this beautiful topic and discussion.
As a passionate mentor and a key player in the regional startup scene, you've seen it all. Could you please start by giving us an overview of what types of startups are needed in the region and why?
This is a very interesting question because the startup ecosystem and landscape within our region is really nourishing and growing in the past, I would say, 5 to 6 years. And we have seen lots of huge startups going global and being purchased or exited from largest companies like Amazon and similar companies. They were bought out. So I would say the grounds of this startup ecosystem, I would say that it is maturing in some areas, and it already matured in others. We can break it down into regions, into verticals. I mean, the whole concept of a startup comes with a use case. So it's all about use cases or problems. There is a third vertical that is localizing and Arabizing global or existing some solutions to be brought to our region. So these are the main three things to start a very successful startup in our region.
Okay, well, on a personal level, you've worked with lots and lots of startups. Describe a successful entrepreneur. What qualities do they have, in your opinion?
This is interesting because whenever I do some workshops with entrepreneurs, I always tell them that I can help them grow, scale, and go to market, and give them some cultural and leadership type of mentorship. However, when it comes to the actual startup, I would love that they give me the advice because, they know better since they had the guts, which is very important factor for having any startup, and the risk, like higher risk tolerance. So these are the main components of a successful entrepreneur.
That's really interesting. As a mentor, what kind of details are you looking for when it comes to assessing a startup?
I would say there are several components. I mean, it depends on the which level of startup we're talking about. Is it in the ideation phase? Is it in the scaled phase? Or is it in the growth phase? Or is it in really mature phase? So each one has its own dimension of measurement in terms of success. For example, in the ideation phase, it depends on the idea or the concept itself and the need from a market perspective, and if there's a pain somewhere. If you are talking about the growth phase, I would look at the people, the technology who are the founders, their background, as I mentioned earlier. If they are subject matter experts, I would look at the technology. I would look at the go-to-market, because by the end of the day, if you don't have a proper go-to-market approach, you can have the best idea, but it will stay on papers and it will not see the light. So these are mainly the things that I would look at. Plus, of course, the type of or the people themselves, the resources or the founders. What type of DNA they have. Do they have the technology or the technical DNA? Do they have the sales DNA? The biggest enemy of startups is the arrogance. I mean, I would say it's very important for a startup to be opinionated, to have your own opinion. Definitely. Otherwise, they won't do startup and they won't go into entrepreneurship. But you need to have and show some flexibility and some agility.
Well, I've always been a fan of learning by example. I was wondering if you could give us a few examples of startups who have actually made it. And what type of funding did they receive?
Yeah, this is a very important question. And it's nice to look up for, these great success stories. I would say in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, in Jordan, in Egypt, they are leading the Middle East when it comes to startup. There are some examples that came from a demand, use case, and vertical solutions. I would tell you, for example, we have in the e-commerce world, we have Souk.com, which was purchased by Amazon. We have OpenSouk. I would say in the gaming part, we have Tamatem as a famous application, gaming application. For food industry or food vertical, we have Foodix, we have EatApp. And for example, in the financial world, we have Hyperpay. This is a fintech company. We have Madfu'at.com. We have Teller. It's a payment gateway. All these companies have proven like really great success in acquiring and in scaling in the Middle East. We have also an interesting company called Elevatus, who built it's an HR solution. There was a demand to build the sentiments while doing your CV over video and analyzing your sentiments directly through using the technology of artificial intelligence. So all these companies came from a need and from a use case, and they became successful. Now, talking about the funding part or the layers of funding, I would say. There is the ideation phase, where we will be needing like pre-seed funding. And then there is the seed funding when it comes into the validation phase. Then comes Series A, B, C. All this comes in the traction part, and when you are going into scale, bigger scale, regionalizing, and in the big growth mode. And of course, the last one is the exit one, or going into IPO. So all these are phases of funds. You would and the sources of funds would be usually maybe at the ideation phase you will have friends and family. You would have some angel investors, and ultimately you will go into the VC funds, but usually they are interested in the scale and in the growth part. We have a good, by the way, incubators ecosystem within all the Middle East. It's scattered across all the Middle East. There are good incubators. And of course, there are very famous accelerators, mainly in I would say, in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And the VC funds, of course. So they have good appetite of investments, and they are investing on daily manner as we speak now. I know lots of companies that are being evaluated and heavily invested in by these VC funds and the angel investors.
So you're saying that technology is an essential part of the whole startup game. What kind of technology should businesses and startups look into investing in, especially in the ideation and conceptualization phase? I mean, what technology do they really need to get their business off the ground?
Okay. I wouldn't, I mean, as long as if we're talking applications, if we're talking platforms, like the latest financial models that have proven success is the subscription and consumption model, where you need some type of recurring revenue to secure recurring revenue to be able to be evaluated properly within any evaluator or a VC fund or anyone who's interested to partner with this business, or even to buy out this business. So I would say that from going back to the technology, it is very important to have the actual application or business built on some type of secure business from like, it has to be secure from like cybersecurity, all the certificates or all the security measures are taken to build a platform on top of it. AI would be, artificial intelligence, of course, would be a very great tool to have. I have seen some startups who have used sentiment analytics based on artificial intelligence, and who managed to really scale big and fast and attract lots of companies and people to invest in them. Also, it is very important, of course, for everyone to see the user interface, or I would say even the dashboards. It has to be relevant. It has to be relevant because by the end of the day, whoever uses any solution or any business or any application, they like to see the end result from an analytical perspective or dashboard perspective, and it has to look good. I mean, sometimes it's good to have the numbers, as an end, because you will evaluate the numbers ultimately. However, there are so many dashboards and tools that you can integrate with several companies, whether it is like, for example, BI of Microsoft, Tableau, or all these. You will have also the interaction part. You will need to provide the customer experience, how to reach out the customer. So you will have customer engagement platform as part of your major technology when it comes to business, because this will help you reach the customer, whether you are building a chatbot, whether you are communicating with the communication tools that are available today, which it's like the SMS or the WhatsApp for communication, or even the social media today is being used as a communication tool and go-to-market tool, and as well, of course, as a big marketing, digital marketing and marketing tool. So these are all factors of success: how to reach the customer, how to go to market, and what is in the back end from a technology perspective, all the way to the front end where the owner or the person sees as a dashboard.
Well, thank you so much for your very invaluable insight today. It was a pleasure having you with us, and it was fun.
Thank you so much, Dana, and this is very important for everyone. Wish you all the best. Thank you.